All right. Nasu, new set of Runeterra spoilers for today. 6 mana Ascended, 2/2 Fearsome. For 6, I have +1/+1 for each unit you've slain this game. So I assume that means I assume that slain is a new keyword that means you've killed. Levels when he strikes for 10 plus damage. So you gotta kill 8 things and then get him into combat to level him up. Has spell shield 1 level. That's neat. Gaining a keyword on level. I have +1/+1 for each unit you've slain this game. Enemies have -1 attack. And then this is an Ascended champion, so it is a 3rd level that happens when you restore the Sun Disk as that landmark with countdown. If you haven't seen the Restore the Sun Disk, you want to check out my first spoiler review from the set. We talk about that and go over it there. Spell Shield Fearsome, base 10/10. I have +1/+1 for each enemy you've slain this game. Enemies have -3 attack. Neat. So he turns into a real big boy and he shrinks all your opponent's stuff. Siphoning Strike. An ally strikes a unit. If it dies, grant allied champions. What? An ally strikes a unit. If it dies, grant. This card is really good. Like, so obviously, concerted strike. Oh, I guess it's slow. Okay, it's slow. In my head, this was fast. But, like, even at slow, this is, like, a really good effect. Like, concerted strike is, like, the go-to comparison that I would have for other cards that we have. And, like, slow versus fast is a big deal. But, like, this is, like, removal spell, but with a big upside, too. So I feel like the upside on this has to outweigh the fact that it's slow. Yeah, like this is really hot. I like this a lot. And this is obviously champion spells are also you can just put Siphoning Strike in your deck as well as a card that you can just play too. So this card seems reasonable and you can just play copies of it. BACCAI Reaper, when you slay a unit, grant me 1 attack. So the way this is worded, does this have to be in play to get the +1 attack? I imagine is the way this works. Looks like it. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is a skill, 5 mana, 4/6 Overwhelm. If you've slain 4+ units this game, an enemy and I strike each other. Neat. Wait, did I read this wrong? No, an ally strikes a unit. Yeah, this is no, never mind. Chat was going back and forth, maybe wonder if I was reading that wrong. Okay, yeah. So this seems pretty reasonable. Like, so this is for lack of a better term, this is like a Flame Tongue Kavu style effect that we see in Magic, where like a unit that kills something when it comes into play. And these types of effects are actually more powerful in Runeterra, arguably, because of how the priority system works in Runeterra. The back and forth pacing of Runeterra as a game, where being able to both kill something and add to your board with a single play is a big deal. I guess there's some question of how consistently are you going to have slain 4+ things by turn 5. This could really be dependent on like what matchup you're playing in. Like in certain matchups is going to be easier to trigger than others. One of the nice things about this though is like if you've already slain 4, you need to get up to slaying 8 to level Nasu here. So like if you've slain 4, this will slay a 5th, 6th, or 7th, etc. for you. Which is neat. Yep, that's a skill. Sanctum Conservator. You've slain 13+ enemy units this game. Kill all enemy followers and then summon a copy of me. I feel like I mean like I'm hesitant to say like This is unplayable, but like that like 13 is a lot. Sure, did I put enemy if you slain 13 plus units? I said enemy for followers here. I don't know if I said enemy units here. Sure, there could be a you've killed. There could be a thing where like you're killing your own units, maybe. Like maybe you build like a Shadow Isles deck with this, where you're like glimpsing your own units and you're casting Ruination to clear your board and theirs. I suppose that like a Ruination on a mostly full board gets you most of the way here for this. That could be reasonable. Yeah. You have ephemeral counts. I would imagine ephemeral units dying does not count as slaying them. Ephemeral units dying counts as you slaying them? Really? Do we have Riot confirmation on that? That would surprise me. I need to see exactly what the wording on this keyword is, but if ooh, yeah, that's a good call. Crumble as a card could be better with this, because Crumble counts as you slaying two things. Huh. This is a weird design. I think I'm into it. So like I think this card is probably good. So like on the surface, this is kind of like a burst speed avalanche, but it's also like a combat trick where like you get to win in combat where they don't kill your things, and it kind of like gives your things extra attack too. Yeah, I know. Seven looks like a lot at a glance, but remember, because of the way spell mana works in Runeterra, these cards are technically cheaper than they appear on the surface. So, like, for example, you could play this as early as turn 4, assuming that you're banking some spell mana. And yeah, this could be, someone in chat mentioned, fearsomes, like this could be a good way to play with a fearsome aggressive deck where you're shrinking the attack on things, which seems potentially very, very reasonable. Like you shrink their board and then you can attack past it. I don't know that like all aggro decks will have to go chunkier, but there definitely will be an incentive depending on what removal people are playing. Like it depends on, like, it's all situational, right? Like what people are playing dictates what is good in terms of removal and vice versa. Kill an ally or destroy one of your mana gems to what? This seems really good. This is it. So like talking about enabling the slain text too, like, yeah, it finds Nasu and it makes him bigger. Yeah, this is a sweet design. I like that it's like an entreat. So okay, so like here's where my head goes immediately. What champion in Freljord or Shurima do I want 9 copies of? Because I can play 3 of these, and I can play 3 entreats, and then I can play a champion in one of these 2 regions to like get a bunch of copies of them. Maybe, I don't know, like Anivia's not good without harrowing, right? Like Anivia's only good because of the Shadow Isle cards that you play with her. Yeah, like I know Anivia doesn't play a second champion, but like the Shadow Isle cards, like, so that's a, if there's a champion where like you're building around it, you always want that champion, you could theoretically have 9 virtual copies of it now, which is sweet. Weight of Judgment. Deal 2 to a champion or 7 to a follower. I don't, maybe it's too good, but I really would have liked to see this be a 3 for damaging champions. The fact that this is going to miss Aphelios and level Twisted Fate feels bad. I guess at a minimum it kills unleveled Twisted Fate. Yeah, I feel like 2 is too conservative on this. I don't know, maybe they tested at 3 and it was overbearing, but I feel like a problem in the current format is not having enough answers to champions like Twisted Fate and so Fiora doesn't really fall into what I'm talking about, but a problem with the current Runeterra constructed format, in my opinion, is Aphelios and Twisted Fate are game-winning value engines that never have to enter combat in order to generate value. And I feel like we need more answers and more regions to be able to take them off the board without combat. And I think this could have been that. I'm a little sad that it's not. Ruinous Path. Draw 1. If you've slain a unit this round, drain 2 from the enemy nexus. It seems pretty whatever. Maybe this could be good if like draining a little bit is good, but I feel like drain you for 2 draw is probably not good enough. Noxious Fervor and this are friends. Okay, that's fair. So okay, let me reassess. At a glance, I was looking at this as a way to give you life in a control deck. But you're right. This is probably an aggro tool, right? Yeah, that's actually this is probably fine. Yeah, the comment in chat about Noxian Fervor, I think, hits the nail firmly on the head for this. Is this paired with Noxian Fervor seems really good. And like having this be like a Shroomia, Noxian like bit of reach in an aggressive deck seems fine. And like it draws a card at worst, right? So that seems okay too. Hey, thanks for the 2-month Strange Journey. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And for folks that enjoy my Runeterra stuff, I plan to be back to doing Runeterra Constructed at least a few days a week when the set releases next week on Wednesday. I am planning to do another expedition tomorrow morning, but the metrics of expeditions, they aren't nearly as popular as Runeterra's Constructed, and even Runeterra's Constructed is already a little bit on the low side for me, so tomorrow will probably be one of the last expeditions that I do, but I plan to be back to doing Constructed once, twice, 3 times a week or so, depending on what the metrics look like next week with the set release. So at any rate, that's going to be it for me for this afternoon. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Shout out to everybody that checked out the Star Trek Fleet Command sponsored thing. We crushed that goal today. I'll be back tomorrow morning with Runeterra Expedition, followed by Constructed on Magic Arena, followed by some Mythgard. And as always, you can find my schedule up here on my website. I'll catch all y'all around later. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day wherever you're at.